Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be connecting React.js to Firebase, in which case we are just going to be performing the simple auth actions. So like probably like authentication, and maybe we'll do the database part, etc., etc. Basically all the features that you can get with Firebase and how you can integrate them into your React website or app. So anyway, let's get started. First of all, I'm gonna open my React uh, to make our React.js app. I'm just gonna open up VS Code, and I'm using here. I'm using VS Code in this case, but you can use whatever web editor, whatever editor you want in this case. And so anyway, I'm just gonna pull up VS Code here. Alright, so first of all, let's just create our project folder. Just gonna go the full folder. I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and create a folder. And I'll just call it React.js Firebase. Just made it. Now we'll just open. You can go ahead and do this as well. So then anyway, let's just click this and then select the folder. And yeah, so now that we've created a folder where we can actually put our React.js app, I'm just going to create a new terminal by going up to the menu here, pressing terminal, new terminal, or you can also do it with the shortcut of Control Shift and then this tick mark here. So anyway, now that we're in our folder, I'm going to create a new React app. I'm going to run the command mpx create react-app, and then we're just going to call it we'll just call it React JS Firebase. All right, so now let's do this. Yes. All right. Okay, so this error you are going to get if you use create React app and you still have the old version. Now, most probably you should just install the latest release, which is in this case it says here 5.01. It just means that the React app library is out of date. So or there's a simple solution to this if you want to just do it like for now, but if you were like using this in like a more like professional area, or you for like production grade or anything like that, or if you were doing your own personal project, I would recommend that you just update the entire create React app library. But for the sake of the tutorial today, I'm just going to do a little shortcut, which is just tagging the version. Just gonna tag the version 5.0.1 right with it. This will basically tell our node package manager, which in this case is npx, to just install the create React app library 5.0.1 and then just create our React.js Firebase React app with it. So we'll just do this. Alright, creating new React app. It's installing everything. Alright. Alright, well, this will take maybe a minute or two to just install, and while that's installing, we're gonna go ahead and set up our Firebase. So, just going to open a new tab in Chrome or whatever browser you want here, and then I'm just gonna keep this on split screen so we can just like constantly monitor where the status of that. So, alright, still happening. So, now anyway, to actually make a Firebase app, just go to your Firebase console And note, Firebase is a is a Google service that Google uses. It's similar to AWS, but not really, or GCP. It's basically just a cloud database and authentication service, but it's mostly known and regarded for its authentication services that it provides. So, anyway, now here you'll see your recent projects, and then if you want to add a new project, press here. And then a name for your project. Let's just say we want to name it React Firebase. Alright, so you can name this whatever you need to. I'm just going to be naming it React Firebase. So I'm going to press continue. And then I would recommend that and it also recommends that you enable Google Analytics so that you can view from the GCP platform, the Google Cloud platform. You can just view all the analytics of your project, how many API calls has it had, etc., etc. Let's continue. Select an account. I'm just going to go to the default account I have for Firebase. And now, while this is creating the project, we'll see that it has successfully created our thing, and it also tells us how we run our project. So we would just go cd Firebase or React JS Firebase. Now that we're in there, now we can just run the npm start command. Or no, that's not it. Npm start, and it should run our app. So anyway, if we go here, we'll see a folder was created with the default packaging for a typical React app. You have your source, public, node modules. If we go into our src, we have our default code, and you'll see that we open here our React app. Then we have the edit src/app.js. This is basically the default screen you should see when you create a React app. So if we double click app.js, just remove this because we don't need it. And then after that, we can just open app.css and just remove all of this. And then here, alright, so yeah, that should be about it for the setup of our React JS code for now. Let's go see if the app was made. Alright, so our new project is ready in Firebase. Alright, so in Firebase, you once you create a project, after that you can add whatever apps you need to apply Firebase's services to. See here in the top menu, you can see you can add it to iOS, Android, and the web app. So in this case, we're gonna be using web app because our React JS app is on the web. And you can also use for applications that use Flutter, or even for games like in the Unity game engine. So anyway, in this case, I'm going to want to click web app. Now, app nickname, we'll just call it the same React. Let me just do it again. React dash Firebase. All right, and then here also set up Firebase hosting. This is mostly free for the most part. If you are creating an application that you want to host on the internet, then you can select this for later, but you can also edit this later in settings, so I'm not going to be doing that. So now we'll just click register app. Alright, so now that we have registered it, we're just going to be using npm because that's what we are using in terms of our package manager. So now it's just giving us simple instructions, and you can go ahead and follow these and do that. So anyway, here npm install Firebase. Here, since I already have one terminal that has my React app in it, I'm just gonna go here under the drop down menu, split terminal, PowerShell. This will basically just create a split terminal for me in which I can run all my React JS setups and any installations I want to do for packages here, and then it can monitor my app's runtime here. So anyway, here I'm just gonna go ahead and copy the command, to install the Firebase package. And let me just do full screen so we can see it easier. Let's do install. And let's just let that quickly install all the Firebase packages that we're gonna need for the to actually run Firebase. So anyway, just gonna take some time. All right, so it's gonna take some time here. And now, in terms of the Firebase, let's see if it's done yet. Nearly done. All right. All right, so it's gonna your Firebase package will probably take some time to actually finish. So I'll be back once it's fully installed. All right, so looks like our Firebase package is fully installed. So now what we're gonna do is go back to our Firebase overview, and now what we're gonna do is this is the config that we have for our app. This is one of the most important parts because this holds our config for this particular project. This is essentially going to be that link that connects Firebase to our React app. Now most people now in terms of the newest documentation, what Firebase suggests is that you just put the Firebase config directly in your app.js and just apply from there. But this isn't the best practice, and what most developers do at this point is just go to their SRC and do new file, and we'll just call it Firebase.js, and this will just be our file where we can just at one time initialize our config and all the variables we're going to need, and then we can access this globally from anywhere we want to. We can have all our Firebase access to one file instead of calling the Firebase config multiple times everywhere. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is just copy this, and I know I'm going to make some changes to the code here. So this is the config. This is fine. We're just initializing our app with the Firebase config, but we don't need this because we're not going to be using analytics in our app, but we are going to need a few other things as well. So import, and then we're just going to import let's see, actually just going to import the entire database from, and then Firebase slash database, and then here I'm just going to call, or actually I just remembered that it now Firebase has updated their web app code a lot since before. So now to call and initialize any Firebase service, you need to instantiate a essentially similar to a React hook. So it's I'm pretty sure called get database, and then that's the same for anything else we need. So in this in this application today, we're most probably gonna need get auth. Let me just change this to auth. All right, and then we'll just initialize that here, const, and actually I'm gonna want to export these as global variables so that then we can access the database globally from anywhere, any one of our files. So database is equal to get database, and then we're gonna pass the app variable, essentially telling and our database service that this is the app that we want to pull our database from, and then also we have export const, and then we have auth, which would be is equal to get auth app. All right. All right, so now that we've initialized our Firebase in our project, now we can actually move on to the actual connection. And actually, we've already essentially connected our app. Once we just finish the setup here, we're just gonna press continue and alright, let's see, where did the app go? Alright, let me see, is the app still here? Let me see. Get started. Let me just make sure that. All right. So in terms of the authentication, here what you're gonna want to do is, yeah, here when you first get started with authentication, these are the sign-in methods that Firebase offers, and as you can see, there are a vast variety. You can sign in with Game Center, Apple, Play Games, etc., etc. But for today's tutorial, to keep it simple, I'm just gonna do the basic email and password. I'm just gonna enable it. I'm gonna press save, and then after that we have one sign-in provider enabled, which is email/password. And after watching this, you can totally go ahead and enable like Google, Facebook, etc., etc., and then just follow the documentation to enable their authentication provider in your app. So anyway, right now you'll see that there are no users for this project. So anyway, to actually test if our connection successfully worked, I'm going to actually create a user. I'm gonna basically set up a basic sign up UI in our project just to see if it actually worked. And in terms of UI, I'm probably not gonna do anything fancy. I'm just gonna create two inputs that say, so I'm just gonna do h1 and then say just gonna say sign up. Alright, and then after that, I'm just gonna call a break tag to get some space in between our sign up inputs and the label. So then after that, we'll just have a p tag that'll say username, colon, and then we'll just have our input right there. Input, oh, not bad, input, and then after that let me call another break tag, space out the password, and then here you can set the input types. So let's just do password. So here in input you can just do type, you can do the type, or actually let me see, let's see what it, let's just try it. Type is equal to username. Let's see if that works. Don't know if it does. Type is username. Let me just see if that worked. Alright, so anyway, let's see. Alright, don't know why that's not working, but here, to change it to password, let me see. I'm not sure why it's not displaying type. Alright, so the main reason for why the input wasn't showing the type, it was actually really simple and I just forgot. So it has to be in a form, so let's just add a quick form tag. Let's just add a form to our application. Alright, let's just do that. Control C. Now we'll just Control V our form data there. Now we'll just. Alright, so let me see. I think the main probable reason is the fact that the main div should be replaced by a form. Interesting, let me see. All right, so it actually changes like positioning when we uh apply the form. So let me see what happens then. All right, so if we remove the form, just do that, I guess. All right, so it's fine because we don't need to like, I guess, deliberate on this problem for any longer because this is just a simple bug that's probably obvious that I'm just not seeing right now. But in terms of a real application, obviously you would just set the input to be username and password, and you probably style this as well. But in this case, I'm for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just keeping it simple for now. So, and probably because I'm not gonna waste time trying to find the bug. So anyway, I'm just gonna keep this as is and just add the uh add the Firebase functionality, which is what we're actually here for. So anyway, what I'm gonna do is go to const create. I'm gonna create a new area function, const, and then I'm just gonna call it sign up user as that. Then I just go here. Alright, now that we've done that, so now what we're gonna do is actually import React into our project. We're gonna import, first of all, we're gonna import the use state hook. Use state from React. So we're gonna import use state from React so that we can then create a state for our email and password. So email is equal to use state, and then it's just empty for now. Same thing with our password is equal to use state empty, and then here after that we're just gonna do our email. So now to actually keep track and change the email as we change our input, what we're going to do is on change. We're going to call this function from the input. Then we're going to call our e, which is our event handler in this case, and then on each change, and actually, yep, I forgot to set this properly. Obviously, set email. Same thing here. Set password. Alright. Back here. Now we're gonna, on each time our input changes, we'll set the email to our e.target.value. So this is just gonna be, this is just saying that we're gonna change the email variable to the value of the input every time it changes. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it for the password because it's the same functionality. In this case, so set password. And yeah, so now that we've done that, let's import our Firebase services. So in this case, we're going to need auth from, and then we have /firebase.js. Alright, so now that that's worked, now let's just set. Now what we can actually do is sign in our or create our user's account, and then we'll just sign him in. So auth dot, and then here we'll just say sign, or actually no, create user. Let me see. So auth dot, and then it should here create. Oh yeah. So this is another update. I keep on actually forgetting that because of all the new updates that have coming in both ES7 with React and Firebase mostly, because in Firebase there's been a lot of changes in terms of the way we actually create users, how functions are called, and etc. So I just remembered that I've recently actually done a project with React, Firebase, and a few other things. That's why I remember. I'm now starting to remember everything. So, anyway, and to actually create a new user, you have to call that as a function. So, you have to call that as a function from the library of Firebase Auth. So, Firebase slash authentication. And then here you can just say create user with email and password, which is what we want. So anyway, now we can actually just call this function, and in the first parameter we're just going to pass our app's authentication service, and then in the second and third parameters we're going to pass our email and password. So in this case, our email is just what the email is, and then our password is again what the password is. Now this function returns a promise, so all we have to do is call the then, and then after that don't need anything from the callback, so we'll just create a empty callback, and then here we'll just alert to the user that user, and then we'll just say, actually let me just make this backticks so that then I can just easily come in with that. Alright, make another backtick so then we can just bring our string in. So user with name of user email has been added. Alright, so this is saying if this message has been done successfully, and then obviously as you probably know, with any promise there's also a catch hook that we can create a callback, but this callback will have our error passed into it, and then if there is, then we can just log the error here, err. Alright, so now that we've logged the error, all we have to do is then just log it and we should be able to see it. And actually I'm just gonna alert the error as well to the user. Alright, so this should work, so let's try it. So here, and we're just gonna create another break tag, and then we'll set a button, a simple button that will say sign up. Alright, and then after that we're just gonna say on click, and then we'll call our sign up user function. Sign up, and then we'll just say user. Alright, so yeah, let's see if that works. So anyway, here, let me refresh, don't see. Alright, so now that that's worked, I'm just gonna add another break tag to get some space between the button and the input. So let's go back again. Alright, so now we've just created a simple sign up UI with username, password, and this is linked with Firebase on the back, so we can actually see what's going on from the back end as well. So anyway, now I'm just gonna test, so I'll just say Bob at gmail.com, and then password is just 1234. Hello. Alright, sign up. Alright, so that's awesome. And we just refresh, and awesome. So we see it's been added. So anyway, this is